They wanted me to stop the heart of an idiot. I was just going to pretend to try so that they could see it wouldn't work. Then, as I sat there, I couldn't stop it. Some dark part of me wanted to see if I could do it.
Holy sh**.
I quit. I walked out. Never went back.
What's up, guys? It's Benny. You know we're all about the science around here. Unlike Dr. Fauci, we'll actually look at the evidence, and if it is empirical and demonstrable, we'll make a conclusion. Here's a conclusion that we're ready to make to you. Trump derangement syndrome is actually real. It's an actual killer. It destroys the mind, body, and soul, and the Trump curse is very real, and we'll show you the evidence right here very quickly, shall we? Don't think TDS is real? Here's George Lopez in 2017, and here's George Lopez today. George Lopez is 15 years younger than Donald Trump. This is what Donald Trump looks like, and this is what George Lopez looks like. What's on George Lopez's face? What the hell is this? They're like open sores that you would see inside of like a heroin camp or some type of degenerate meth user living in a piss-soaked lean-to tent in Kensington or Skid Row. It's hideous. Something awful happened to George Lopez. We figured it out. Saddam's alive. We can continue. This is what Kathy Griffin looks like. You might remember Kathy Griffin as, well, that lady, kind of, right? But that's with all the Hollywood makeup and lighting, and a couple of years of Trump derangement syndrome has turned her into, I don't know, a corpse? What would be the right way to describe this? A corpse? Someone who looks like they died and then came back to life for like a little bit, but it was only like half back to life. Got it. Hollywood is filled with real-life daywalkers, zombies, vampires, goblins. Kathy Griffin. Kathy Griffin before Trump was elected, and Kathy Griffin after Trump's election. We could go on. We could go on. Okay, just one more. Just because she fled the country. Ellen DeGeneres, 67, doesn't look like Ellen anymore. Changed her hair and is now, well, working the land in England. Except for she's having to be saved by a man. Isn't that ironic? This is what Ellen looks like today. Looks like the adrenochrome has run out. Oh boy. And this is one of the funny little moments when Ellen couldn't drive a tractor. Remember, she fled America because she hates men so much. She hates the masculine culture of America. So her and her wife went to merry old England, the Cotswold, of course, the whitest part of England, in fact, the least diverse part of all of England. And now she has to have a white man save her when she gets her tractor stuck driving over not tough terrain. So cool. It looks like Trump derangement syndrome is going great for absolutely everyone. Just got to tell you, like, is Kathy Griffin homeless? Why is she just wandering around the side of the highway? It is something like, does she live in a tent now? Why does she does walk like Skeletor? Why though? Why? Big questions. Okay, so some of these people are like D and C list actors, but there are people who, well, would consider George Clooney an A-list actor. Although I think it's really funny, the series of L's that George Clooney is experiencing. George Clooney can't get a movie job because he's not a movie star, as to Quentin Tarantino. So directly put it, George Clooney is very angry about that. But Tarantino's right. George Clooney is not a movie star. In fact, here he is weaseling his way into the backstage of Broadway. George Clooney has got a Broadway show right now. Got it? But you'll notice something very strange about George Clooney, which is that when he gets out of the car here, he's not looking great. George Clooney is slumped over, bent over, and looks like extremely emaciated, very thin, and not healthy at all. He wanders up, and some woman puts her hand up to shake his hand, and he backs away and says, "Don't touch me, lady." He says, "Don't you dare touch me." And then a very skinny, again, his clothes are like falling off him, a very skinny, emaciated looking George Clooney with his neck crooked and bent wanders off into the darkness of the theater. Again, he has a Broadway show right now. I'll play you this clip. Not looking great.
Happy birthday, George. Happy birthday, sir. George, happy birthday, man.
It's not much to really see, and he doesn't have really that big of a crowd as he sort of just wanders in. Looks like maybe some autograph seekers. Some lady tried to shake his hand, and he's like, "I'm not going to touch you, you dumb slave. Worship me." I just don't think he looks good. I think he looks bad. I think George Clooney looks really terrible. And that's what people are saying online. Saying George Clooney looks awful for 64 years old. The demons are coming for his soul. Happens when you make deals with the devil. Ooh. Well, he was caught in a different light with his embarrassingly dyed hair. George Clooney ambushed by Jesse Waters' show asking about this embarrassing moment when Joe Biden couldn't even recognize him. Top Democrats leak grim new details of plot to trick Americans about who Joe Biden was, how bad things have gotten. George Clooney threw a fundraiser for Joe Biden, and Joe Biden didn't even know who he was. Got it? Senior Democrats have turned on Joe Biden in a bombshell new book claiming to expose shocking full extent of his decline. The book by co-authors, Jake Tapper, says the president's inner circle totally effed us and handed the election to Donald Trump. It says that exposing what they saw as concerns to cover up Tapper, Thompson, these are the authors, saying a disturbing incident, frail president allegedly failed to recognize legendary Hollywood megastar George Clooney. I don't agree that he's a legend or a Hollywood megastar, and was barely capable of stringing two sentences together, even before his grueling 2024 campaign began. Oh boy. Oh my. Okay, well, let's go ahead and see what George Clooney has to say about this. Maybe he'll comment about how Biden aides discussed using a wheelchair if reelected. We really love the fact that they do this interview, that this interview happened. These are the kind of questions we need to have of the celebrities who propped this man up and continue to try and hold up the edifice of this collapsing and failing diseased party. Here's George Clooney getting humiliated by Jesse Waters' show.
Joe Biden emerged from hibernation last night, and so's George Clooney. He went on CNN to play hero and twist the knife in Joe's back one more time.
You yourself did something that a lot of people would call brave when you wrote your op-ed.
Well, I don't know if it was brave. It was a civic duty. When I saw people on my side of the street not telling the truth, I thought that was time to...
Are people still mad at you for that?
Some people, sure. It's okay. Listen, the idea of freedom of speech, the specific idea of it is, you can't demand freedom of speech and then say, but don't say bad things about me.
Right.
Yeah, that's the deal. You have to take a stand if you believe in it. Take a stand for it, and then deal with the consequences.
Clooney opened Pandora's box when he pushed Joe out the door, and the party still hasn't recovered. Now the coup masters are desperate for a new leader to save the left.
We have to find somebody rather soon, because we need to redo. Look, the other side, the side that I'm, that I don't support, won, and they are, running through government and doing their thing. So it's our job now to put together a proper team to stand up, because we're right now polling very poorly, and.
Don't count on the Democrats getting their act together anytime soon. New DNC honcho David Hogg just created a $20 million coup fund to oust older Democrats in House races across the nation. AOC showing that she won't need to dip into the coup pool, raising over $9.5 million last quarter. That's a lot. She's putting a scare into the establishment Democrats like Rahm Emanuel, who won't even say her name.
Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, we just learned today, raised $9.6 million during the first quarter of this year. What does it tell you about where the energy is in the Democratic Party right now, and with whom, and what her future is?
Yeah, well, let me say this about the election since November and before that. In every special election before November 2024, Democrats won specials where there was low turnout. There's a tremendous amount of energy, and it's solely focused, which is why we want this, back to your first question, as a referendum on Donald Trump and his tax.
Democrats have a problem with radicals in their party, and if they're not willing to clean house, someone else is going to have to step in and do it for them.
It's very, very bad, and something has to be done, and you're just praying that the Democratic Party will step up and find a viable candidate to compete with the right, because the reality is, even though you and I both know individuals on the left who are incredibly gifted and could do a lot of good things for this country, the fact of the matter is, are they resonating nationally? The answer at this particular juncture is no. And because it's a no, you're desperate for somebody to step up and take the bull by the horn. So God forbid somebody like me doesn't have to.
And if all else fails, the left's gearing up for an insurrection.
We are in unbelievably uncharted territory here. And, we're approaching the point where, honestly, it's like we're all going to have to take to the streets or something.